What's going on, everybody? It's just another day in the kitchen, back with another episode, and in today's video we'll be taking a look at Kanye West's Donda listening party and what made it so special 3 years later. Now before we get started, I want to give a special shout out to the homie Strain Beats for cooking up the beats for these videos, so make sure you guys check them out. And while you're here, you might as well drop a like and subscribe and join our free Discord to stay up to date with the latest and the greatest. Shout out to all of my chefs in there. Now, if you had to ask me just what was Kanye West's most iconic album rollout and era, I would be hard-pressed to find anything more iconic than the Donda era, as we would see the first of many listening parties that would be used not only as a means for gauging the fans' reaction to songs played in real time, but also as a performance itself and a way for Ye to connect with his fans unlike any other way he had done previously. So with all that being said, and given that today's the 3rd year anniversary since Ye's Donda listening party, and the fact that the upcoming Korean one is taking place in just over a month on August 23rd, I figured what better time to look back at just how iconic these LPs were and what we can possibly expect for the upcoming one in Korea next month. Now before we get started, I do want to mention the next portion of this video was recorded almost a year ago, so some of my opinions and knowledge has changed, and I wasn't aware that all of these Donda merch blanks are actually printed on Los Angeles apparel, which of course makes some great quality samples and merch, and Ye has actually been working with them over the last couple of years, so the price is just a little bit more justified. So with all that said, let's take a look at what made this Donda era rollout and merch just so special. What's going on, everybody? It's just another day in the kitchen, back with another episode, and today's video takes us all the way back to 2021 for the release of Kanye's 10th album, Donda. In this video, we're taking a look at the insane merch that released around this album, including some of those pieces that he's wearing at the beginning of this video. Now, in my opinion, this Donda album and era was a return to form for Kanye, of course, before he went off the deep end most recently, and personally, I really enjoyed the album. Out of all of the songs, my favorites are probably Hurricane and Heaven and Hell, so let me know in the comments which one is your favorite, and while you're here, you might as well go ahead and drop a like and subscribe. Now, the rollout for this album was absolutely insane, and we're going to touch base on it in just a little bit, and I also wanted to shout you guys out that are always recommending what type of videos you'd like to see, and you never know when your comment might be featured in the next video. Now, like I said, the release for this Donda merch was actually insane, and yes, this is an actual photo from the Atlanta event. Now, to put things into perspective, the Donda long sleeves were selling for $120, and they sold out so quickly that people were actually reselling them inside of the stadium for an extra $100 or $220. Now, I do want to also mention that there were some more pieces that were available exclusively at these shows that weren't necessarily online, so I just wanted to point some of these out. And yes, that is a bulletproof vest that we'll go ahead and take a look at in just a little bit. I just wanted to include this dope still image from Kanye's live stream from the Atlanta event, where you guys can see him modeling some of this Donda merch. And something that I wanted to point out that you'll see later in this video when it comes to the merch itself is majority or 99% of these pieces are in collaboration with Balenciaga. And although they've been surrounded in some scandals in the time since this album has released, it was definitely a big deal. So like I mentioned, yes, there was an actual Donda bulletproof vest that was available, and honestly, living here in Florida, I hate to say, that's something I kind of regret not being able to pick up because people are crazy out here. Now, one other reason that this release was actually insane is because at these listening parties, you were actually able to purchase some of Kanye West's YEEZY sneakers and slides like this, which I think is a first. I can't tell you many other artists that have actually had their sneakers available at their own concert and event. And for anyone doubting if the people just took their shoes off for the photo itself, here's the actual price guide for the listening parties, and as you can see, slides were available for $60 and $80, which again, I think is very innovative of Kanye, and doesn't surprise me in the fact that he's that creative. When it comes to the first actual pieces of Donda merch that were available to purchase on Kanye's website for the rest of us, this was actually the first rollout, and it featured this black long sleeve, which was basically a tribute to the Atlanta listening party at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. On the actual long sleeve itself, it has information about the date of the concert, and personally I think it's a really dope exclusive, even if you weren't able to actually attend this show in general. Now, the thing I do remember about this drop is that there were other listening party events that did take place, and if you're not familiar, essentially Kanye was previewing the Donda album, and he had different merch available for the different dates that they took place at the arena. Now, as you guys can see, the crazy thing about this merch is that it doesn't ship for 10 to 12 weeks, which is basically 3 months from the date that you purchase this item, so you might as well purchase it and basically forget it. Now, when it comes to sizing, they did have sizing available from size small all the way to 2X. So if you're like me, you basically have to hope that after purchasing this item, you don't gain too much weight in the time it takes for it to come. Now, just to go ahead and show you guys an example of this actual merch piece, here's Kanye featured with his daughter Northwest, and here she is wearing the actual piece itself, which I think is pretty hard. Now, for the rest of the actual Donda merch that was available online, it wasn't actually the craziest, but we are going to go ahead and take a look at it, and as you can see, there are not a whole lot of pieces in comparison to Kanye's previous merch drops, or just other merch drops in general for artists. Personally, I do understand the concept of less being more, and when I really think about it, despite the fact that this album only released about 2 years ago, I don't think I've seen many people wearing Donda merch or talking about it ever since the release. That's not to say that the merch itself isn't hype or lit, but I personally think that down the line for any Kanye fan, this is going to be something that you want to get your hands on because of how rare and limited that it actually was. Now, some of the links I wasn't able to access on the website, but I did want to show you guys what the actual pieces look like in a little bit of a higher quality. That photo right there is of course Kanye's home that he grew up in, and that features his mother Donda, and this was at the time when Kanye was announcing that he was going to run for president. Now, while you're listening to the album Donda, of course you gotta rock a black mask so you could fit in like Kanye, and the retail cost is only going to cost you $160, which is pretty insane. Now, the shipping for this one is absolutely disappointing with 12 to 16 weeks, so unless this actual mask was made out of like Kim Kardashian's hair or something, I would definitely be disappointed to pay basically $200 for a mask that doesn't arrive for over 4 months. Now, again, to give you guys perspective, this is the outfit that Kanye was wearing at the beginning of this video, and this is presumably the same type of mask that you were able to purchase. Now, if you were able to purchase this and you did when this actually released, let us know in the comments if you actually wear it to this day. Now, next up, we've got this presidential 2024 long sleeve t-shirt combination, which features the presidential seal and of course 2024 on the back. Now, if you didn't know, during this era when this album was coming out, Kanye was having some mental breakdown type of issues, and he did announce that he would be running for president. Now, if you think that he would make a great president this upcoming year, let us know in the comments, and let us know if you'll be voting for Ye in 2024. Now, as you can see, this is another piece that's going to take 12 to 16 weeks to actually ship, which is atrocious. However, I guess appreciate that they did something different, and I guess you're getting a long sleeve and a t-shirt built all in one. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier in this video when we were kind of previewing this one, but this is the Donda 2-layer t-shirt, and it does feature baby Donda West, aka Kanye West's mother, who meant a lot to him on the front, and also shares the same retail price of $200 along with the same shipping times of 12 to 16 weeks, aka 3 to 4 months, just as the other pieces have throughout this drop. Now, last but not least, we've got this very generic and kind of bland Donda hat, which is a cool $60, and honestly, this is refreshing to see that they weren't charging $100 or more for it, given that it just looks like a standard snapback type of hat or 5-panel hat, which features the word Donda on it. However, of course, the shipping had to take 12 to 16 weeks even for this, so it is what it is. And let me know in the comments how you feel about it in general. Now, with that being said, I just wanted to recap the actual merch that was available for this drop, and again, the fact that this is what was kind of available just in terms of the online pieces. Now, there may have been some other shirts that were available that were more exclusive to the actual listening party events, like the following one I'm going to show you guys right here. However, most of these pieces were only available at the actual listening parties themselves. And if you're not familiar with why we're looking at that Mercedes-Benz logo in general, it's because this listening party event took place at the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Atlanta. Now I did actually find this photo of a fan who copped most of this merch, so just to give you guys an idea of what the outfit would look like if you were to purchase it. Now, as always, guys, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for cooking with the kitchen, and I'd love to know what you guys think about this one in the comments. As I mentioned earlier on in this video, this Donda era is certainly iconic for a lot of different reasons, so if you have a special memory from it, let us know in the comments. And if nothing more, I think it's cool to be able to look back at this Donda era in hindsight and see how it really laid the foundation for some of these future Vultures listening parties, so if you agree, let me know in the comments. Now, as always, guys, thank you so much for cooking with the kitchen. Remember to stay safe out there, and as always, remember, it's lit. Straight up, and peace.